world. Now on to our show with your host, Peter Mingils.
Hello, everyone. Peter Mingils here. You're listening to us on Building Fortunes Radio. My name is Peter Mingils. We own BuildingFortunesRadio.com. Started this about 2012 when I wanted a microphone and a platform to be able to talk about really great things that are happening, especially in the home-based business arena, and share for our Building Fortunes Radio listening audience, which we didn't have when we first got started, of course, the opportunity to be able to be in front of some really great people. It's Wednesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. on the Pacific Time, and we do a radio show with a gentleman. His name is always Ray Gebauer. And recently, because we wanted to extend our reach, we took last week's Ray Gebauer radio show, made it into a movie, and then put it up on our different platforms using a restreaming process. So if you go to BuildingFortunesRadio.com, you'll be able to hear it there. But if you went to YouTube.com/BuildingFortunesRadio or Twitch.tv/BuildingFortunesRadio or Facebook.com/BuildingFortunesRadio, you would be able to hear and see Ray Gebauer's wonderful words. So we're spreading this audio message through video as well as most as we possibly can, and I just want to announce that because Ray's a really good guy, and one of the reasons why we do this show is because if you're looking to work with a really, not only a good guy, but a smart gentleman who really is going to do things in your best interest and help you build home-based businesses and probably help you with your all the other things that are going on with your finances and maybe your health and those of your loved ones, you want to plug into the things that Ray Gebauer does. I have a huge level of respect for him. I certainly appreciate that he gives us 30 minutes or 45 minutes or an hour on a Wednesday night because he could be doing anything he wants, anywhere else he wants to, and I really appreciate him being here. So if you go to BuildingFortunesRadio.com/Ray-Gebauer, Gebauer, you'll be able to hear this as well as the previous radio show. So, Ray, thanks for being here.
Hey, Peter, thank you again for having me here. It's always a pleasure. It's always exciting to hopefully maybe make a positive difference, enrich someone's life so the rest of your life can be the best of your life. And particularly these days when a lot of people are struggling on multiple fronts. So I'm going to do whatever I can to make life better and easier for you, higher level of happiness, more income, more success, more feeling significant and important. But I'm going to start my broadcast today with a story to set up a point and a lesson that I think is really important that could end up saving your life. I think you'll find this interesting. So imagine you decide you want to move somewhere, get a new house. And you're looking at two different houses in two different neighborhoods. And one neighborhood, you really like the house. I mean, it's like everything is just perfect except for one thing. You find out that whole area is infested with gangs. And you find out that 90% of the people in that neighborhood end up getting mugged or killed, but everything else is just perfect. So which neighborhood do you think you're going to choose? As long as you are aware of the full picture. So you're going to give up the ideal house because of that factor of the high 90% chance of getting killed or raped or murdered or mugged or whatever. But let's change the story a little bit. Let's say you grew up in that neighborhood and it used to be fine, but now it's not so fine and it's getting more and more dangerous, and you come to realize that 90% of the people in your neighborhood end up getting mugged or killed. So now what are you going to do? You're already there, and so are you going to be okay with taking the risk? Or are you going to, get the heck out of Dodge? So once you're fully aware of that, you're probably going to do whatever it takes to get out of there, because who wants to live with that hanging over you, a 90% chance of you getting taken out or beat up or whatever? So I say all that story to introduce an idea to you that I think is very relevant, especially these days with the concerns and the fear, the pandemic of fear, which is really the most deadly pandemic. And so my acronym for tonight is ATMS. And I think I have some really important, valuable insights that can save your life, because a lot of people are living in a dangerous neighborhood where the chances of getting beat up or mugged or killed was 90%, and they don't even realize it. They don't see the danger. And sometimes what you don't know can kill you. So before I jump into it, just real quick, I'm trying to keep this under 30 minutes this time. So, Peter, what's your best guess? Just briefly, what do you think the ATMS is going to stand for?
On ATMS, because we're talking about maybe the way to get out of that situation, number one, every time you throw an A at me, I'm going to throw in the word attitude, even though I know it's going to be wrong sometimes. I just got to throw in the word attitude because that's going to be the controlling factor. T is going to be training, because you could be motivated, but you want to make sure you're doing the right things. The M is the mechanism. You need that mechanism to be able to get out of that town. And then sacrifice would be the S. Pay whatever price you have to pay. So that's my ATMS.
Okay, well, good guesses. I'm going a totally different direction. So it's, last week you got 50% right, but
I did.
Yeah. So the A, you probably would never guess this. This is going to be more from, I don't know if I should say this, more from a negative perspective, but you got to deal with the negative. You can't just pretend everything's wonderful. You got to deal with stuff that you have to deal with. And the reality is, if you want to engage people and get their attention, you're more likely to get their attention if you are talking about what you are against versus what you are for. Well, for example, think of the organization MADD, M-A-D-D. And what comes to mind? Mothers Against Drunk Driving. Notice they didn't call themselves Mothers for Safe Driving. And so the reality is, people are more likely to align themselves with a cause or a purpose if it includes being against something, like being against destroying the environment, not just saving the environment, but against destroying it. There's some more drama in something where you're against something. So we want to be wise and utilize both dynamics. What are you for and what are you against? And I think we make a mistake of trying to just be all positive and talk about what we're for. We're for financial freedom. Well, how about being against poverty? So that's the main concept tonight. And so the ATMS stands for against, what was the T? Against, I can't believe I'm forgetting this. ATMS. Against, okay, I'll skip the T. It's a little embarrassing. Against stress. Oh, I know what it was now. Against too much stress. That's what it was. It was going to be against stress overload, but it's against too much stress. Because what I've come to conclude after my 40-some years in the healing industry, holistic health, that the single cause for all health conditions, mental or emotional or physical health problems, diseases, comes down to one single thing, and that is too much stress or stress overload. And there's different kinds of stress. You got chemical stress, you got psychological stress, you got electromagnetic stress, you got stress from not getting enough of something, some kind of deficiency, not enough sleep, not enough sunshine, not enough vitamin C. But it's the getting too much stress that's the ultimate cause of every emotional problem and every physical problem. and even death. But I'm going to focus in on one particular kind of stress. I found this study quite fascinating. About a year ago, I came across this study. These psychologists, they like to study all these different things. And, stress is a big thing. And a lot of people have way too much stress. And they wanted to identify what kind of stress was most harmful, most deadly. And they looked at, psychological stress here. And, stress from marriage, stress from a job you don't like, stress from, health issues, different things. And and let me tell you what number 2 was. The number 2 most damaging kind of stress was stress from people's work. They didn't like their job, and which they were able to measure the effect of that increased by 500% chance. By 500%, the chance of you having a fatal heart attack. 500%. So that stress is sort of like deadly, right? But the big one that increased your risk of a fatal heart attack by 13 times, and that's sort of considered an unlucky number, but that was what it was. 1,300% higher chance of dying of a heart attack if you are at the high level of stress from not enough money. And so by not having enough money, that stress was the most deadly stress that increased your risk of dying from a heart attack by 13 times. That's 1,300% more. So that's a problem. I read just a few days ago in a newspaper an article about people living paycheck to paycheck. And the studies show that 78% of the population are living paycheck to paycheck. And you know what? Do you think that's comfortable? That's difficult. That's stressful. It causes psychological stress. And when you don't have enough money, when you're living paycheck to paycheck, that affects you mentally and emotionally, which affects you physically. So you're much more likely to die of a heart attack or cancer or diabetes. So it isn't just about health. You got to be healthy and you want to make money too. They are tied together. So I started off with that story, living in a dangerous neighborhood infested and controlled by gangs. This is what I was leading up to. So if you're part of that 78%, that's living paycheck to paycheck, that creates so much stress. That has almost the equivalent danger level as living in a neighborhood where the gangs are eventually going to get to you, because they're taking out, over time, 90% of everyone in that neighborhood, becomes a casualty. So that's the problem. So we want to not only be for financial freedom and for residual income, we want to be against people suffering and even dying prematurely, not to mention lower quality of life, being almost like emotionally disabled from the stress, from not enough money, and from living paycheck to paycheck. We want to be against that. We want to be against that and for the dream, getting to residual income. So I think part of our message isn't not only what they can get, the dream, but what they want to leave behind, what they want to escape from. Because, paycheck to paycheck is like being in an emotional prison. For some people, it's a life sentence. They're going to die in that prison and never escape this prison of living paycheck to paycheck, where they're stressed out, continually. In fact, after I read that article on paycheck to paycheck, I was inspired to write a poem. Initially, it was just 4 lines, but then I thought of another way to put it, and another way. So I think it's pretty cool. I'm going to read it to you because it sort of reiterates what I just said from a different perspective. Okay, ready? Paycheck to paycheck, it prolongs the pain. So build your own business to get into gain. Paycheck to paycheck, you're feeling stuck. So build your own business to create some good luck. Paycheck to paycheck feels wrong and too long. So build your own business. You'll sing a new song. Paycheck to paycheck, it's hard to survive. So build your own business. Hey, it's time to thrive. Paycheck to paycheck, it's driving you insane. So build your own business and change the game. Paycheck to paycheck can make you cry. So build your own business before you die. Paycheck to paycheck, now find out your why. So build your own business. It's time to fly. Working at home is now the new way. So build your own business and explode your pay. So I'm suggesting include in your thinking and in your messaging and your conversation not only the positive big picture and the possibilities, which we need to do, but we are saving people's lives by helping them escape this maybe what would otherwise be a life sentence in this prison of stress overload from not having enough money. And we have the answer. Now, it's true that on the average, most people are not successful in any business. You open a restaurant, 95% of them go out of business. Most real estate agents don't make that much money. Statistically, people make more money in MLM than they do in real estate. So not everyone is able to escape the prison, but anybody can if they do enough of the right things. You can go from zero to a hero and be a hero in your own story and escape this dungeon, this prison, a paycheck to paycheck. Now, the big drawback in the sense of network marketing is at the beginning, for most people, it's slow. It's slow building it up, and for the time you put in, you're really underpaid. But in the long run, if you stay in the game long enough, you can get to the point where you're earning more than you're worth, you feel. I remember that happened to me. In 1994, I was at the bottom of things financially and emotionally, and I had no income. My car was getting repossessed, and then I got a call from somebody, and I wasn't very open, but they finally convinced me I needed to get engaged, so I did. I bought into it, and I didn't have any other work, so I just went full-time, 80 hours a week. And then after 7 weeks, I got my first check, and the first check was for $7. I said, are you kidding me? I did the math. I found out I'd been earning 1 penny per hour. So I had a choice. I say, well, this is for the birds. This isn't working out so well, and just walk away and give up. Or I can say, well, I still have enough faith to give this some more time, which is what I did. Next month, my check went to $700 from $7. That's 100 times as much. I'm not saying this is going to be typical, but the next month it went to $2,700, and after 6 months, my check was over $10,000 a month. So if I had quit after that 7 weeks of my first tiny paycheck of $7, my life would have been totally different. Now, I'm not suggesting that's typical. There's different circumstances and so forth. But the point that is typical is at the beginning it's slow, and you have to realize that's the reality. It's like, even building a house. Initially you don't see much happening because you got to build the foundation. So, but the big payoff is if you can stay in the game and enough things right, get enough guidance and right teaching and personal development and right kind of system, working with someone like me or someone else who knows what they're doing, you can be the exception and be part of that 5%, where you can escape that prison of paycheck to paycheck. And even the emotional prison of feeling like you're a loser, you can never do this because you've tried 20 times already and it's never worked out, and none of your friends have had success. But I'm telling you, if you get committed and do enough of the right things with the right people, and particularly with the right company and right product, you can absolutely have your own prison break and escape that prison of paycheck to paycheck and that stress overload of the ATMS of what I'm talking about, where we need to be against too much stress, including the stress from not enough money. And so that's my message for today. We need to address this whole issue of, we need to talk about both sides of not only, the dream and what we can do, but we want to also take a stand against something, because not enough money, too much stress is really killing people. Not to mention the quality of life. When you're under too much stress for too long, you become somewhat emotionally and mentally disabled, because stress, like T. Harv Eker used to say, the higher the stress, the lower your intelligence. And prolonged stress is a killer. That's the main cause of all disease, too much stress for too long. So we can help people not only with their physical health, if you have a fantastic product like the one that I'm promoting right now, but we can help people emotionally and by helping them escape their financial pressure in prison. That also helps them with their health as well. And part of another component of that is studies have found that people that have the highest level of social connectivity, which is what this industry gives us, as you build your network, they have a 50% less chance of dying prematurely. So when you're not connected to lots of people, that's stressful, because we need connections with people. So it helps you be healthier emotionally and physically, just building a network, even if you didn't make the money. But if you build the network and you're helping people, the money will come, and you eventually, whether it takes you 6 months or 6 years, I'm telling you it's worth it. Because if you don't do anything, where are you going to be 6 years from now? The same place you are now, or maybe even worse off. Because a lot of people are going further into debt and more credit card debt and more stress. And right now, the media is actually doing us a big favor. I just realized this the other day. I don't like the media most of the time because they tend to generate, fear and anxiety and exaggerate and mislead. But one good thing that they are talking about that helps us and that will help you, guess what that is? They're talking about we need to learn how to work from home. Working at home. That's what we've been saying for years. Right now, the media is agreeing with us. So what's the best way to start working at home? Well, I think it's working with people like me and others who've had success in network marketing, because that's the ideal business. And so not only are you helping yourself, but you're going to be helping others. See, it's like two main things in life. First, you got to help yourself. Then you got to help others. So by having your own business that becomes successful, you're helping yourself and your family. But in order to have done that, you've been helping other people have a better quality of life, not just physically through the products like these stem cell reactivation products that are extraordinary, but also by reducing the financial stress and pressure that's slowly killing people and pushing them faster into some disease. 20,000 people died just yesterday from cancer. Just yesterday, and every day, that's the average. Over 20,000 people die every day from heart disease. And ultimately, you can trace all that back to stress. And the biggest stress, according to psychologists, is not having enough money. So when we help people have more money, they're going to have less stress, they're going to live longer, be happier, and you get to be a hero in their story. And the more people you help, the better off you are. It celebrates your escape from your prison or your pressure cooker, the stress that you're under. So I've been doing this for 42 years, I think, 44 years. Started in 1976. I've had a downline of almost 1 million people. made over $10 million with a single company. So I have a fair amount of experience, so I know I could help you. Sometimes it's not just the company or the product, it's who you're working with. So I have room on my plate to help more people who want to have faster progress, or maybe you're stuck, or maybe you're disillusioned. I might be the guy that can help you, get your head above water and, escape that bad plan of paycheck to paycheck. That 78% of the population are stuck on that track, living paycheck to paycheck. And it doesn't end well. Most people are stuck there for life. But you can be the hero and help them get out of it, and help yourself get out of it if that's where you're at. Or if you're doing okay, are you okay with just staying okay when you can maybe get a couple of levels above that and be doing great and help a lot of people along the way. So that's my
the most important thing is
perfect.
ATMS. So how would people get in touch with you? Because I want to make sure you can squeeze in your contact information before we run out of time.
Oh, yeah, good point. Yeah, just send me a message by mental telepathy, and that works really well. Or you can use my phone number, which is 360-206-9266. So that's 360-206-9266. Call or text me anytime. You can call me in the middle of the night if you feel inspired, because my phone will be off. It won't bother me. But the main thing is, let's have a conversation and see if maybe I can help you either where you're at, or maybe show you a better way. Maybe we can work together, because I'm not only for financial freedom, but now I'm really against people being stuck in this prison of paycheck to paycheck. It's just killing them. And we can save lives and improve lives by being against that and for all the good things we usually talk about. So any comments, Peter?
No, excellent information. So the most important thing, especially as we're in these type of challenging times where it is very stressful and there's a lot of stress coming from different directions, if they're working with you on a regular basis, I know you're going to be able to kind of guide them through. So make sure you check him out. His name is Ray Gebauer, Gebauer, and we're going to run out of time, Ray, so I'm going to call it a call real quick on Building Fortunes Radio. We're going to post this again, so you might see it on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, a few of the other channels. I think it's a Periscope thing as well, as on buildingfortunesradio.com. So thanks for being here. Make sure you check him out. Call him Ray Gebauer, 360-206-9266. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next Wednesday.
Thank you, Bill.
You've been listening to Building Fortunes Radio on buildingfortunesradio.com. Thanks for listening. Be sure to check us out every Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time for the designated Building Fortunes Radio segment with Peter Mingils. Be sure to check out the buildingfortunesradio.com website for our featured segments. It's been our privilege to have you listen in. At Building Fortunes Radio, we wish you the success you deserve and are willing to work for. So spread the word, tell a friend, join our newsletter, and go make a difference in your world.